Hello, can you hear me okay? Oh, my volume is muted. Hold up for a second. All right, can you hear me? Yeah, so I can't hear any of you. So I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Hello. There we go.
There you go. Hi.
Hi there.
How's it going?
Good. We're just loading up the presentation. Now, the only thing I don't know is if you're playing it up here, I don't know if people can see it.
Just share the screen.
Is it? Okay. This. Should I start? Yeah. You see that, Jaleesa?
Yes, I can see it. I just realized I was talking on mute.
Okay, good. So now you can just take this and when you go to yours and drive it, because I don't think I'll need it anymore since we're recording. And night.
It's just, where do you want?
I think you can go, you can take it anywhere, actually. I think it'll.
Because look, I mean, this is a PDF, so we'll just sort of scroll through
Okay.
it.
Is there no one else coming?
No, we've got,
Really?
there is, yeah. I just want to make it comfortable for you though.
I know.
Can you see anything over there? I can scoot over if you want to sit here.
I'm trying to
Three more.
Here.
I'll go over
Your
one.
seat's good. No.
I had it. Well, no. Did Danielle say she was coming?
Yeah.
I was talking to the girl down at the police station. She's like, I can't wait to see it. So it's been busy. Over here. And she said it's so convenient for them to be able
Does
to.
anybody have the time?
I can't.
Look at
And I
that.
could hear you out there too. I was so impressed.
429.
I mean, my God.
Did you leave at 3:45?
Pretty much.
Wow.
First, we get on the interstate over there, West Shore, you're going 60 miles an hour until you start to
Armenia.
close in on Howard, Armenia,
Yeah.
and it's like, get out and walk.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But, and I parked in the Fort Worth parking garage, so now no more $30 parking.
That's
ticket.
right,
Oh.
exactly.
Speaking of which.
Yeah. Fork 'em over.
What?
That's it.
I already paid you.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my,
We call them tracers.
Golden ticket.
Yeah, really. Sweet. So I'm just gonna leave my car over there for like about 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. Pay it tonight and then just stand back there for a lightning game.
Right, yeah. I can trade out the ticket.
Near, but it is funny when they have lightning games. It is like $30 for here too long. You're like, oh, that was an idea.
Is there anything going on tonight? Look like they're all like full.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty cool. How you been?
Moderately busy.
Yeah, that's good.
I tell my boss I'm slammed, but in reality, I'm just. Maybe
It's a lot.
Happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
We are recording.
So we're gonna be showing the PDF up here.
Mhm.
Okay, so-
Someone's available.
You. Just for you, girl.
One more. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Travis, you said
Travis is coming
Danielle.
and Danielle.
Look over the minutes from last month so we can get that. Go
Yeah.
going.
Actually, I already did it.
What's up, girl? I know. We all did.
It's like.
I was like, my duck for something.
Same thing. It's like.
We're like, right, it's time.
If you want to,
Should we,
actually, if you want to bring a chair, you can just be okay. My hands lifted up.
Well, here, just, here's mine.
Yeah.
Travels the least amount of distance.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm not wet.
Oh, I hit just the second that I walked out.
I carry another.
I carry on and that's it in the car.
That's good, that way you know right where it is.
That's right.
When it rains, you can go.
All right. Okay, cool. All right, we'll go ahead and call this Central Park CAC meeting to order for May the 15th. Do we have any public comments? Online or in person, any public comment? Okay. So if we're okay to go ahead and review last month's meeting minutes from April 17th. Just want to take a minute to look that over.
Well, yeah, I will. So I'll go ahead and introduce Bryce, everyone. This is the first time.
first one with Central Park, yes.
Okay, so Bryce is a new member of Melissa Martinez's team. So he's thoroughly read the CRP update,
That's
so
great.
we're fortunate to have him. But Bryce, yeah, started what about?
Just over, a month and a half ago, April 1st was my first day. So, yeah, before I started working here, I was previously with the Hillsborough County Planning Commission, mainly doing like comprehensive plan policies, rezoning reviews, and yeah. So came over to the CRA and it's been a really good start ever since. So,
Yeah, so we're really happy to have him.
Yeah.
And so if you guys want to just quickly let him know who you represent and who you are.
Yep. I'm Thomas Murphy, the chair for the CAC.
Ursula, community business.
David Hollis, the encore, in Tampa Health and
Oh,
Authority.
I was like, yeah.
I was like, that's
that's
Shortchanging yourself.
Yeah, I'm Danielle Joyce, but I'm with a consultant called Sam Schwartz, TY Lynn.
wonderful. Nice to meet you.
You as well.
Everyone, yeah.
And Bryce knows Trent.
Yes, and the inside team, yeah.
The
So,
Bulls.
yes.
Okay, thank you. I'll keep waving at people.
Well, you're very popular lady.
There he is.
All right, we need one more chair.
Yeah. Weird, huh? Yes.
It's tight in here.
Slide down the chair.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're just introducing this gentleman here, Travis, Melissa Martinez's team. He's going to be part of the
Programs team with under Melissa Martinez.
and then Travis is a farmer down at Meacham Farm downtown.
Oh, nice to meet you, Bryce Carringer. Nice to meet you.
I saw you like, and then like.
And just so you guys know, there's storage over there right now because the Ebor office that used to be on 2015 7th Avenue, that closed. The CRA office closed there. So those staff members of the CRA have moved here. And so that's being used for some storage until everything gets situated. Because all of the CRA staff members are going to be on the second floor here eventually. So that's why our close quarters today, while that's being used for storage.
commercial grading system. Anyone make a motion to approve last month's minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve last month's minutes.
I'll second.
Okay. Any opposed? All in favor? All right, perfect. That was passed unanimously. Go ahead and move on to community redevelopment plan presentation from Professor Trent Green. Thanks. Can you share that one? Okay.
Thank you.
Is this the one you emailed us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing. I just read it. For us old people, we won't.
I like that.
I'll check it.
I'll personalize.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Central Park area plan update is, we're still in progress. We're getting close. This is the way the final document will look. It still has a lot of edits we have to get to. I think Bryce, we got, I think Julissa, I guess she got all of your edits in. Cool. We have to edit it, and of course, you know, we'll sort of take into consideration, account rather what, you know, what it is you'll provide also. The plan is divided up into 10 sections, and is introduction. There's the statutory requirements section, the compliance with local regulations and consistency with other plans section, and then we go into existing conditions. We talk about the need for redevelopment, and then excuse me, adjacent development trends and neighborhood impacts, and then public participation process for updating the plan, and the vision for the future of the CRA, and then economic development objectives until CRA cessation. Sorry, and then the legal descriptions is section number 10. We may attach certain things, depends on what Courtney and Melissa Bryce wants to put at the end as part of the appendix. And then of course, the very last thing will be the list of figures that we have. That's one of the things that we're still adding. We still have to get some of our maps that we showed you earlier in there. We have to make some adjustments to make them reflect what the narrative is talking about. Okay, so that's going in. There's still some images that will go in, and then there's some spaces in there where we were looking for numbers or figures that we haven't come across yet. So there are places in there that still shy of a few statistics, let's say figures. So this is the introduction, the way it sort of opens up. Again, this is the format that we're using for the final document. As you can sort of see, there's a colored tab on the right hand side of each page that relates directly to the section. So each section, the color changes sort of slightly, so that tab will actually move down the page, move down as you go further into the document, but it'll always refer to that particular section. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, and again, just looking at the way some of the maps are going to sort of sit on the page, and in anywhere you sort of see a red, some red text, that's a reminder for us that there's something missing there that we need to put in. Okay. Okay. Then we go into the statutory requirements. So what we did was we took the entire statute and looked at it line by line, essentially, and we're identifying what the statute requires. That is on the left is the actual statute itself, or the portion of the statute rather, and then in the middle is the language from the statute, the statutory intent rather, and then on the right that column is where we reference that particular statutory requirement in the document itself. Now, we're gonna try something to see if this works. I'm not sure if it will stay with the document. That is, let's say those those sections that are referred to in the right-hand column. Again, it depends on how you're looking at the document itself. We're going to create a link to that section. So if you clicked on that, it'll take you right to it and elsewhere in the document. Okay. Now, the reason I said I'm not sure if it'll stay is because when the document, of course, when the document is on a different, being looked at, let's say in a different browser or something like that, it might lose that link. Okay, that internal link. Okay.
Can I ask a question? Now, the gold tab, that as we go deeper into the material, it'll move down as we go to different sections.
Right.
Now, the tab is there like a green section followed by a blue section followed by? So, or are all the tabs all gold, goldenrod, or whatever that color is?
They change subtly.
It's a gradient from like gold, orangish, all the way to yellow.
Okay, so you wanted to make it tougher on us. People that want to see color that clear.
We've been trying different formats and trying it out, but it felt like you could understand where you were by like because if it's a rainbow, then you might not know. So if it's like a subtle change, but we tried that as well, but.
Can you click on the goldenrod and drag it down halfway because you think you're halfway in the manual, or?
We'll see if we can make that work. So, but
The scoreboard?
yeah, but we'll have to do it sort of in the table of contents, I'm thinking.
Oh, the table of contents, yeah, they have links.
Yeah.
Well, right now,
Yeah.
but you click on
Yeah,
it.
it'll take you down to that section.
And at some point in time, will all of the members get a copy?
Oh, yes, we're gonna leave you with this for your review. But just remember, that's why on the cover says draft.
Oh, sure.
For internal purposes only.
Sure,
So
what
review only,
What you're
so-
doing looks outstanding.
Okay. And then, again, there's several pages of that, statutory requirements, but we wanted to make sure we hit all of them. And then in subchapter 3.2, we talk about the authority of the 2.2, sorry, the authority of the CRE to undertake redevelopment activities. And that's one of the things that came from the statute as well. Okay. And then 2.3, of course, is the reporting requirements, which of course we'll have to make the final presentation of the CRE plan update to the CRE board, as well as the planning commission. And after which, I'm assuming that that's when it will be adopted by a resolution. So that will be one of the attachments at some point that will go in the back of the document, that resolution. And in section 3, that's where we start talking about compliance with local regulations and consistency with other plans. And we took we looked at all of the, this first portion is just talking about the City of Tampa's redevelopment authority, agency rather. Okay, and we took this from the latest, is this from the latest annual report or these goals and objectives?
Yeah, this is what was recently within the last year agreed
Okay.
upon that the CRA's objectives
Right.
are.
Okay. So we're putting it there. Now, under each one of these figures, images, there will be a sort of those descriptive tab that tells you, what this is and where it came from. Then, of course, look at the, we talk about Central Parks area is one of the two smallest CRAs in the city. And obviously we go a bit deeper than that. And we talk about the comprehensive plan, and again, the statutes require a consistency with the comprehensive plan. And after we go to the next page, this is where we're identifying all those portions of the comprehensive plan sections on that first column, then the goals, policies, and objectives in that second column. Then again, in the third column, the CRA, the reference where you can find how we, how we address these. Okay. Then we look at zoning and land use. I talk about the different zoning districts that are in the CRA. And then we talk about the Ybor City Historic District, because a portion of the CRA is within the historic district. Okay.
Is that the portion over by Booker T?
That's just north
15?
K Street, sort of cuts across right there. Well, actually, just north of Temple Park Plaza.
Okay.
Yeah. Comes right.
Nebraska.
Right. And the district actually boundaries that western boundary. That's I guess it's one parcel behind buildings fronting on North Nebraska Avenue. Yeah. Hmm. So it's just that little commercial frontage that's there on the on Nebraska, North Nebraska Avenue, that's in the district as well. Then we talk about the how the Central Park CRA is within the urban core opportunity zone. Okay. And this is one of the things that we asked early on about. Okay, any type of overlays that that the CRA that are all as part of the CRA, we want to make sure we reflect all that also. We talk about again, we're sort of digging here because we went back and found, of course, we had it, but we talk about the Tampa City Center plan and what was called for in the Central Park CRA back when this was done. And there's another one that we'll have to insert after this. There was the Hillsborough, Nebraska Transit Corridor plan that was done at the same time as this. And that really focused on, that was actually a master plan that focused on the Nebraska corridor coming out of downtown, going all the way north up to Hillsborough Avenue. We had it, we just haven't put it in here yet, but we'll talk about that. Didn't really call for anything specific within the CRA, but it does talk about, I believe it talks about rehab opportunities for some of that small commercial frontage on Nebraska Avenue, at least on the west side of Nebraska. Okay. And then, of course, we incorporated a portion on the Tampa Downtown Partnerships because they identify, again, a portion of the CRA as one of the 7 downtown neighborhoods. Okay. And that's it. Then we focus on existing conditions. So here, there's a series of maps here. You can sort of scroll through where we've sort of inventoried a lot of the physical conditions within the CRA and adjacent to the CRA. So we've got vacant land, vacant properties, we've got open space, bike paths, trails, we've got public parking, of which there's only public parking, of course, is an encore. Okay. And transportation features, both existing and proposed. We've got industrial uses, I'm sorry, commercial retail uses. Then we've got residential, both multifamily and single family. I'm sorry, some of the colors you probably can't see from where you're sitting, but we've got institutions, okay, as part of the inventory. And then we go into the historical Central Avenue commercial corridor in the scrub neighborhood context. We went back to look at the original plan and how they talked about the significance of the Central Avenue and scrub community area, let's say. So we just brought it a little bit up to date, with this sort of description, some of these entities. Okay. And of course, we're linking that to the way in which the Encore has sort of used the heritage branding for a lot of the features of the buildings in Encore, as well as in Perry Hopper Park. This map, you can't see it, but this is an old Sanborn map that we overlaid over the CRA that sort of shows the parcelization and buildings along the Central Avenue, original Central Avenue portion right there, and then a lot of the other buildings that were there. And I forget the date on this map. We'll have to put that on there.
I think it's 1915.
15. Thank you. 15. Yep. Sanborn. Then we talk about adjacent CRAs. And here we just use a color-coded method to sort of describe. You can sort of see the blue at the bottom. Of course, that's the downtown CRA. And then the sort of the pinkish area is the Ybor City 1 and 2 CRAs. And then the purple, the interstate, is East Tampa. And then we talk about both the downtown and the Ybor City CRAs because they're just adjacent. It's one of those tabs below. This just go to that, move over, put down. Okay. And we also talk about other physical conditions in the area. There's some images there in this section. Again, the remainder of the Tampa Park apartments. We talk about some of the vacant property along North Nebraska. I believe that is actually city-owned lot. Okay. And then some of the, again, conditions of some of the existing buildings there. Then we sort of zero in on Encore and the Encore master plan. Talk about the buildings that have been built in Encore and some of the other features of Encore. And David, before I forget, one of the things I think you mentioned, but I wanted to confirm it. Is there a plan to build on parcel 13?
Yeah, yes,
There is.
right. It's the only one that we haven't closed on yet, but there is a plan.
Okay.
Right, and just to be sure, 13 is the property that skirts along Cass and up Nebraska, just a couple of, the turn.
Right.
Yeah.
Right at the southeast corner of Encore.
Correct.
That's not where the chillers are there across the street, right?
Well, the chillers are right behind.
Behind it. Okay,
There used to be a barbecue shop.
okay.
It's just.
So the chillers are staying though, obviously, so it's just gonna be developed in the front of the chillers.
Right.
Gotcha.
We were.
It's a unique shape and size of property, but
Yeah.
somebody's got a pretty cool plan.
Yeah, we were speculating on what could be built there. Could put
They squeezed that Burger King on
a,
Scott.
actually, it's in the downtown CRA,
It is.
so you could put a tower there.
Wow.
Yes, they
Okay, and
There's actually a couple of tall buildings there coming out of there.
and we talk about the Encore CBD and its role in infrastructure within the Encore development. And then we talk about this first phase of Gasworks. And these are buildings W1 W1A and W1B, two separate buildings, but the way they describe them in their development plan is one building. And then W2, which is that building down below. And we do talk about those proposed short sections of Fourth Avenue and Fifth. Yeah, the short streets that they're adding, which are aligned, of course, across the tracks, of course, Mutual Parkway with the Fourth and Fifth Avenues in Ybor City. We talk about other development, and the image at the bottom sort of shows the Canvas TWX project on the first phase, the building. Of course, this is the only for sale owner occupied dwelling units within the CRA, these townhouses. We have numbers on how many are building both in this phase and the next. And we go on and start talking about getting some of the other features. This Perry Harvey Park is sort of laid over on the side. Because this is the same graphic we got from the city's website. So, some of the features there. And then this matrix actually identifies everything that's been built in the CRA. Okay, so and it's divided in sections. So this first section is commercial, and correct me if I'm wrong. The only commercial building that we've identified that's been built since the establishment of the CRA is that Salem's fast food restaurant.
Rebuilt, because wasn't there one there before?
I don't know. I'm not sure about.
Oh, since maybe not then.
I know it's gotten,
Revamped.
yeah, it's been revamped. I don't know how long it's been there.
Yeah, I know it was there, early 2000s or something, but it might have been prior building that, I don't know when it was built up.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then we have to take it out because, again, we're describing what commercial buildings have been built in the CRA here. Okay.
What's building?
Salem's, Euros.
Oh, yeah.
The same side as the library and school.
Right.
Remember, it used to be kind of a little more, not as,
It was washed out. Now it's been,
Yeah, it's all been redone within the last couple of years.
Yeah.
That's
a
the
franchise.
Blue Note will be kind of an exciting place on Saturday night. Yeah, you may want. Wasn't that exciting?
Okay. So the column on the right identifies all of these buildings, everything that's been built in the CRA. The middle column is just a brief description of what it is. And then the column on the right is a few numbers about those individual structures. The year built, the amount of floor area, parcel size, and we wanted to add development costs, but we don't have it for everything that we list here. So we'll have to try and chase down some of those numbers as best we can. And the reason for that is because what we have been asking Melissa and Courtney about a while back, we wanted to try to, later in the document, we want to try to paint a picture of the overall level of investment, private sector investment that's gone into the CRA. And hopefully be able to compare that with the level of public sector investment. To show as one of the metrics in terms of how the CRA is performing or meeting the objectives of the agency. Okay. So go through this again. These are all residential buildings, of course. So we start with Encore and then we go into the three Gasworks buildings, that first phase of development. And then we get to the institutions that have been built. This, of course, the library. And we do mention St. James and Encore because it's been a renovated building. We're putting in this institutional category because it's now we're working with the Tampa History Center, let's say. Okay. We also list the Job Training Center and the Ybor City Rehab and Healing Facility as institutions. And then we talk about infrastructure. all the infrastructure elements that have been built in the district. And we list them by, well, individually, as best we can. So we do mention, I think, Playground Park. We mentioned, let's see. Encore rights of way, of course, were all, for the most part, rebuilt. The Central Chiller Plant and Encore, the park, Perry Harvey Park, Ray Charles Boulevard, we're sort of singling that one out. And then Urban Farm, and then the Encore Butterfly Garden. We did not mention the property that's owned by Tico there along Cass because I think it sort of skirts it's not in the CRA, essentially. The boundary goes behind it. Okay. Then we talk about.
We call that pollinator.
Pollinator garden.
We don't call it a butterfly.
Okay,
But I think you can call it what you want.
okay.
Because there are other pollinators other than just butterflies.
Right. That did come up, and I'm trying to think, we sort of referenced that way somewhere, so we just.
And those are all, and by the way, we always like to point out to people, if you ever go in there and take a look, sometimes it looks a little scraggly and like, I have to go in there and just mow that. All of those are native Florida plants and they grow naturally. So it's really a very cool thing. Trent will remember, but when we first built in there, that little pocket park was one of the first things we did. And then it had manicured St. Augustine grass and all sorts of boxwood beauties. And it looked like the most awesome backyard reminiscent of South Tampa. And then actually Leroy came up with the idea like, that's not what Florida looked like.
Yeah.
So we went in and we poured all out, which cost $1.25, and put that in there, which is really kind of neat when you really understand what that's doing, because when you build some of these wonderful neighborhoods, you chase out all that native stuff going on, bees and bumblebees and birds and squirrels, and they all just disappear when, progress comes. So we actually did that purposefully to lure them back. And doing pretty good. And of course, with the bees over at the farm, I invited you all to come over and have some natural made honey there. It's for sale right there on our own bees over there. And the city considers bees livestock. So we had to abide by livestock zoning for our bees. I don't think we did it exactly.
Branded.
Yeah. They have little leashes and little saddles and all sorts of stuff.
See, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, so they have little sprayers so they can fly them through and they get different colors on their wings.
Yeah.
Teeny tiny.
Well, you're just right across the street here, so.
But there is an invasive species of grasshoppers that you should look out for. The eastern Florida logger.
Yeah, they're native.
Are they native? Okay, but they will eat. I don't know if you have this problem in the farm, but they will eat your the good plants that you buy and put in your yard.
I got something.
They will if you see little holes in the leaves, that's them.
Are they big or small?
They will get big.
They start at small, black color with a little orange stripe, and then they turn into the huge yellow.
Yeah.
I need those. What do I do?
Squish them.
You gotta kill them.
Fry them up.
They are essentially locusts.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I call
I eat the plants from my forest.
Yeah.
I know exactly what they look like.
them. Yeah. And you spray them with stuff and they just look really good.
When they're small, but they've already hatched now, and they started hatching in late February. You could spray them then and kill them. now that they're big. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a question?
Yeah, shoot.
Okay. Okay, so moving
I
on,
think based on.
Yeah.
we talk about remaining development opportunities within the CRA. And then we have a map that sort of, you got these icons that sort of show what type of development that can exist in the CRA. And then we have a map that sort of identifies where those opportunities exist. Okay. And we do,
All that yellow is vacant.
right,
Up for
right.
development? Okay.
Of course, now we do single out the remaining Encore parcels, which are planned for redevelopment, and the later phase of Gasworks, which are planned for redevelopment as well. So we do make that distinction. But currently, yes, they're still vacant. And then in the next section, that's when we show actually here's what's being considered. So
Now, does it make a difference for your presentation there? Does it make a difference if those properties are actually under contract, closed contracts, I mean, sold to developers as opposed to available?
no, when we make that distinction, though, what we show is we talk about this is what's planned or proposed for that particular
Okay,
parcel. Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. And then, of course, these are parcel 12 and 5, one in Nebraska. Then this map. Yeah, so here you can sort of see the footprint of those buildings, proposed development is sort of in that darker color. Okay. Yeah, so the canvas townhouses are there, they're just kind of small, but they're also.
So these are the, these are not.
Right. That's the second phase of their development. Okay. Then we talk about urban and community design issues, because with all this development, of course, we have to think about the built context, let's say, the quality of the the quality of this place. Okay. And then going into chapter 6, we talk about adjacent development trends. And of course, now we can sort of see this is the entirety of the proposed Gasworks project. And let's see. Then we talk about the public participation process. We talk about the workshop that we had with the CAC, the workshop that we have with the community over at Reed and Encore. And we sort of list the issues, concerns, and ideas that we documented from those workshops here. Okay. And then the section 8, the vision for the future, for future redevelopment in the CRA. Okay, and another CRA enhancements. We talk about vision and philosophy. You can't see this, but this is a sort of a 3-dimensional map that sort of shows everything that's proposed. So it shows the proposed buildings in Encore, and we'll probably add to this the something on parcel 13 as well. But it also shows the rest of the remaining proposed development for the Gasworks project. Okay. Then we talk about the some of the smaller scale, what we're calling supportive development opportunities. And this is where we sort of put the proposed place branding elements, the wayfinding features, things that we identified as part of the workshops, put them in this sort of vision section. Because they haven't happened yet, and we know some of these are actually going to happen, but we put them in this vision section. Then we talk about transportation, connectivity, access, and mobility. Again, some of these will have some of the smaller scale supported redevelopment elements into that as well. Okay, we get to number, the last portion of number 8 is anticipated infrastructure requirements. The only thing that we know related to infrastructure is what Kepler is asking for with the upgraded or extended water or sewer lines for the first phase of gas works, right? Okay. Okay, then we talk about economic development objectives, total CRA cessation. The first part, we talk about the remaining CRA TIF district timeframe, when the TIF actually sunsets. We talk about the current and projected tax increment, okay, revenues. And that's one of the things we couldn't find, a projected revenue. Bryce, you have to help us there. Okay. I think before Jeff Burton left, he did mention that there were some, I know they did it for downtown, but I'm not sure if it was done for every CRA as projected TIF revenues.
If he, I mean, he was over Central Park and Camp Heights as
Okay.
well, so if he did it downtown, he may have done it for the others. I don't know, that'd be some research we'd have to do to see if it's viable and exists.
Okay. And then we get to a chart that sort of shows, this is the it's a comparison chart between revenue, TIF revenue that's been generated and expenditures. So revenues are in the sort of the oranges, red color, and then the expenditures are in the blue. Okay. We just put this, again, we took these from the annual reports and just put them on this graph to sort of show at the bottom, of course, the level of amount of revenue and expenditure. Okay, based on the compared on the left-hand side of the chart of the years, and it goes all the way up to from 2006 up to 2022. I think to this did this every other year. Okay. Then we get to this. This is a matrix that we incorporated. It's called Key Performance Indicators or metrics for the Central Park CRA. Okay. And again, we took these little icons in the left-hand column. Those are directly from the CRA's objectives list. That first diagram that we saw early on in the document, we just using those as sort of ways to sort of describe or measure, if you will, each of these conditions. So the first one is economic development. The next one is attainable housing. The next one is connectivity. The next one is quality of life. And the last one is community engagement. Okay. And then the very last thing that we have here is the legal description. Okay. That's the way the document is really coming together. Like I say, we still got a lot of work to do to actually finish it up. Our objective is to have you take a look at this. And I'm not sure, can you say this? Can you say this on your?
I sent it in advance.
But did you send email? Did you send just this or that? Because you didn't have that.
It didn't look like that as much.
Oh, it's not. Oh, okay. I just
paper
sent
contents, I don't think
Okay.
to see how it was, but
Because
Yeah,
you probably got this.
there were some things that were similar that I noticed, but when you started that, I was like, that doesn't look like the exact same.
Right.
Okay.
Right, yeah, this is the working document. That's what you get. That's what you got earlier. So
Oh, okay.
that's what the finished document is.
So this is like the raw content, but that's like the formatted.
Okay. So yeah, I can
So
send
we can
this.
save it to your hard drive and distribute.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'll
This is
plug
what
it
we
in here.
got here. So it does look like that in the front. I just kind of feel like it had those colors. Maybe that was one of those.
Right, yeah, then this is what you got.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Similar. And that Salem's building that was built in 84, they bought it in 97 as a KFC before. I think it's been, the building's been there since 84. I think that Salem's has been there probably since
So
97.
predates the CRA.
Right, and then they did the new facade in 2014.
Okay, good. All right, we'll take that out then because, yeah, we just want to identify any new standalone commercial building or no sense of CRA. So scratching ranch.
any questions and comments?
Sure.
Okay. First question, did we touch on the city grants opportunities anywhere in the document?
We asked about that. We're not clear how much information we should put in the plan about that. You're talking about the revised grant program?
Yeah,
We
and
can
I'll
research.
see, because right now it's not officially approved, so. So June 13th is when the CRA board, so he can't really talk about it until it's official, and it's, if approved, it would be June 13th. So there may be some time to incorporate just
Yep.
a section of
Circle back and
of
put it
the
in.
approved. Residential, unfortunately, is coming forward, the new residential grants, but we may not, we may still have an opportunity to put in residential right before deadline.
Mhm.
But commercial should be done here in the next month, and then the residential grants soon.
Okay.
So yeah, we should, good point, we should probably carve out an opportunity for, if it makes sense to go on the CRB.
And I know this is like my probably nitpicky design background, but did you guys develop this in Word?
It's
That's
this.
the word.
This is the word that's in design.
So this is an InDesign file?
Yes.
It's in progress.
Okay, because I was gonna suggest if there's any way that you guys could have like a graphic artist actually lay it out for you when it's final, because I think your information is probably there, but I'm getting lost with all the formatting inconsistencies.
It's good enough, it's good enough.
Yeah, it's still changing, of course. Yeah, but
So a couple of things of feedback, maybe that the tables should probably appear as appendices, because like they're big with a lot of information, and when they go over to page after page, you lose the header from each page.
Right.
And then another thought, if it is InDesign, maybe you guys can do like a landscape layout instead of like a portrait layout, because then you can actually see a spread, you know what I mean? Which would really open up your space, because there's a lot of white space right now, so maybe it would open up your space for some of those maps, because they're hard to read, they're hard to see. So maybe you could make some of those maps a little bigger. And then like with the images on your cover sheets, like maybe lighten the rescreen so that the yellow is not so glaring, but the picture shows through, because like it was hard for me to see the existing picture, and I think they're probably really good. And then just overall adding more images of the district for your existing conditions, because I felt like you didn't have a lot of, you had some historical images, but maybe some
right.
real-time pictures of the actual district, even if that means like aerials or whatever you want to do to capture that, because I think there's a lot of areas we could depict. And then just with regard to your maps and stuff, there was some imaging issues that were a little hard for me to read or see, but it's probably maybe because it's projected up there, because I'm like squinting, but sometimes the layering of the data sets, because you were probably using ArcMap or something, so maybe if you could just lighten some of the, layering on the levels or whatever you want to call them, it might be easier to see with what you're titling those specific maps, like highlight those. But I think there's a lot of information there, and it's very comprehensive, and it captures exactly like what we've been talking about the last several months. And that's very good to see, because sometimes when you're communicating things, it doesn't always come through with the final product. So I think that just overall formatting and, getting it to where you guys want to, if you're in InDesign, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Because you could do anything with that. But if it's Word, you're super limited. So that's why I was going to ask first, because I didn't know. But yeah, I think it's really coming together, and you guys have put a lot of work into it, and it really shows. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely awesome.
Now, like I said, so we save this, Melissa can distribute to you, so you can, provide further input as well.
Just really read it, like get
Yeah.
into the.
What are the majority of the red items that you said that we're still kind of working on? What are those?
Some images, there are there's some edits that the price, and Melissa had suggested we still need to sort of get the wording right for the narrative. to clarify, I guess, for the most part. In addition to maybe get a couple stones or something like that, but, we'll get all that out. But yes, there are a lot of other images that we have that came from the tour, that everybody did and took pictures, okay, that, we'll put in to reflect a lot of those conditions that you alluded to as well, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
If people don't like to read these days, and this document is public facing for a long time. I mean, think about when's the last update that we had?
Yeah, they're supposed to live for about 5 to 7 years.
Way too long.
Yeah.
And I feel like, when people look at plans, especially with members of the public that are trying to familiarize themselves or even getting involved in the CRA, it would be so beneficial to have more pictures than words, even though you need to have those words in there because of the legibility and the CRA itself, the document, the living document of what it is and what it serves the purpose of. But even with the section on the regulations, I don't know if that can be almost like an appendices or something, because a lot of folks might not read that, but it's there as a formality if you need to. I don't know, just some thoughts. I see, just being in my industry, I see a lot of documents, a lot of plans, a lot of graphic images, and we've come a long way. And something that looks really appealing is easier for us to give to those community members and say, look, here's our plan. And it's not so intimidating, but when they see all of those words,
Yep.
they're like, oh, and they stop, they don't even read it.
That's one of the things that we've been wrestling with is, okay, do we have too many images? Because we're of course visual people. So, and of course comparing this to the original document, which was a long time ago, of course, it's all text. Okay. And so we've been going back and forth about, okay, how much is too much? Because this document, for the most part, will live online. If I'm not mistaken. I mean, there might be some people who might print it out or whatever, but for the most part, it's going to be read online. So, so we were just concerned about, okay, so of course, this is not necessarily absolutely riveting. Riveting.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm wondering if, I'm sure it's not in your scope, but, the CRP is valuable to Bryce and I just from what can be funded, so we care about the not riveting part. And then the public facing piece would have more of the pictures and things like that, but we need a lot of that copy to say, well, we can do it because it's in the plan.
Right.
So that's important to staff,
Now,
but not important to the public.
Now, that's one of the things we wanted to ask you about also. So, I mean, we've heard that several times, but how specific should we be, can we be about putting things in the plan that suggests maybe this is something the CRA might want to do later on? Or if we just allude to something like, let's say some public realm enhancement. I mean, just by putting that term in the document, does that now legitimize a bunch of things that could?
It helps. I think that to be more general, yeah, I think and that's the direction we went with the downtown CRP. A little bit less general, so that it opens up the door for more opportunity.
Okay.
Because when, for instance, the downtown plan spoke specifically to things that didn't happen, they lived in the document, like the downtown circulator, it lived there and it was not happening, it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So for two specific, if we can generalize a little bit more about what it is we need,
Okay.
like connectivity, transportation, we can say, yes, it does say this in the plan, it matches with chapter 163 and it's also in the plan. We can do it.
Sometimes less is more in that regard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I know a lot of people tend to say, well, okay, here we are, 2024, and then when the earlier plan was written, it said you're going to do this. I mean, specifically called out something, and then people say, well, it didn't happen. Why? Okay.
Right.
So,
Okay, I have a question.
or something.
Something that you said having to do with infrastructure and then hearing somebody say what can be funded and, I don't know if this fits at all, but when you talked about infrastructure, I thought about water and something I saw on television. Is there a collective statement about the impact of the various developments that are going on around this area?
Like
for instance-
environmental,
Environmental.
Yeah, like for instance,
like environmental justice.
right. Like, all these buildings going up and you have the existing buildings, will their water supply just kind of like suck away? You know, will there be any monies for studies that could be done or something that, that clearly says that there is care for the impact of all the things that are happening?
Right, so in section 6, that chapter is labeled adjacent development trends and neighborhood impacts.
Okay.
So that would be where we would address that. If we know there are adverse impacts, of course, or there's some trend that's happening that could lead to some type of adverse impact. Okay. But yeah, we'll certainly be glad to put that in. You add that, section 6, because right now it's one subchapter. We just talk about the development trend associated with the gas works.
Yeah, it's the shortest chapter, huh? So,
Yes.
yeah.
Which you bring up a good point, because it's environmental impacts, and community impacts.
Right.
Yeah, community impact too. Yeah,
Yeah, it could be increased traffic in there.
and that's what I wrote down here too.
Central Park and everyone developed around it.
Right.
And
Big time.
Now
we know infrastructure plans.
And for instance, like one of Fred Hearns' biggest beef about Central Park is having a street right in the middle of a park. Like, that's not safe. You know, you're walking, then all of a sudden, and walking and talking, and then you find yourself crossing a street that's a live street. So what are all these connective things doing to the community?
Okay. And that's one of the things we're working on the Tampa Heights Riverfront CRA. At the same time, we do talk about neighborhood impacts because we heard that in the community meeting about rising property values, of course. And we also heard about public safety, people trying to get across Tampa Street to get over towards the river and Riverwalk, because there's only 2 places where the signalized intersection with crosswalks. It's at Palm and at 7th Avenue. In fact, that just went in.
Yeah, just one.
But yes, we can expand on that.
Because didn't you say that Harrison, that that never used to go all the way through? And then when they redeveloped, then
Right.
you guys, I don't say you guys, but they made that decision then to make that a through street. Because that never used to be a T right there at whatever. What was the street that used to T into like, what's this? This is it Governor. But anyway, so yeah, so that was always the big
Might be teed in it,
That's what I'm thinking is I think it was because I don't think King Ballard wouldn't have been there then.
Right.
So that's the first one because it goes central. Then I think it's whatever that next street is, which should be Governor.
And of course,
Governor, yeah.
Scott slices across the top.
Slight, yeah.
Separates the, the farm and the skate park, of course, and another part of the park.
Right. But I'll tell you, being down here, some people will shoot through there. If you're not paying attention, you can get clipped
Yeah, you really do have to look both ways.
Yeah. Twice
So,
and then haul.
but I'll tell you, that little chicane twist they put in
On
on
Scott.
Scott Street.
You see that maybe get clipped before?
Oh,
You go
I'll tell you
flying
what,
through the air. You probably see it all the time.
Car lane.
They get-
Yeah,
Travis, tell them about the late night Mercedes a couple of years ago.
Yeah, someone hit that curb, went really fast, really late. Made it all the way through the fence into the parking lot, took out a bike rack.
The gentleman had been late at a party, so.
Really?
And he
Wow.
totaled a very expensive Mercedes sedan.
That big.
Yeah, we saw one doing a walking tour where the guy's van was on the side and he's standing up in the middle of the van.
Out there on Scott Street?
Yeah, because Scott Street was so, it was, you know, an exit off the interstate, straight as an arrow.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking
And
at.
so when we did some streetscaping there, we worked with the city on putting the little turn. And then when you go down and you go across Nebraska, we put a little median, you know, on the other side of Nebraska in the middle of Scott Street. So, but yeah, there's been a couple of people just must have torn their car, because every once in a while I come down that way when I'm coming to the farm, it's like, oh man, and the curb is crushed in. It's like, oh, that really costs a lot of money to fix that car.
Even though that's a brick street and.
Yeah.
Yeah, the average person would know that. You probably shouldn't be driving down a brick street that fast.
Yeah, any brick-
but
even a street, brick street, you know. So.
Was that a two-way at one time?
I don't, it couldn't have been a two-way, it maybe was a two-way out to Jefferson. Maybe.
Yeah, because I'm
Jefferson,
looking at this
whatever
picture from
that is.
07 and it looks like it doesn't look like there's anything to, it just looks like a free-for-all.
Yeah.
And then 12, it looks like that's when they started to put the lines in, but that's when they put the wrong way signs.
But that's where we're at now. Our intent is to have most of the edits done because we're gonna start meeting with CRA board members next month. One-on-one to brief them on the plan as well. And then our presentation to the board is on July 25th. And after that, of course, we'll have to make a presentation to the planning commission. That date is yet not been established yet. And then, of course, after that, I guess is when the board will come back and, you know, vote to do resolution to adopt a update. So
It's crazy it's finally happening, you know?
A lot of information though, and it's changing so fast.
That's the thing is, yes.
So it's great because you guys have come to several meetings and you've heard some of the development discussions, and that means a lot, you know, to incorporate that, because it's been so fast and the coordination back and forth, and of course you have a love for the district, so that helps. The personal connection.
So please, like I said, when you get it, you know, you can, you think that's the best way to get.
Yeah,
comments
yeah,
back.
everything can come to me.
Okay. all right.
And
Okay.
then I'll make sure Bryce and Melissa have it as well. But yeah, everything, please just bring it, send it on to me.
Yep.
And I'll get it to where it needs to go.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll make sure I say this version and get it out to everybody. And then do we want to give some sort of deadline that would fit with your schedule as far as when any kind of comments would be needed?
Let's see, so we're at mid-May now, so by the end of the month,
Yeah.
if possible.
I would say, yeah,
latest,
by
because,
May 31st.
yeah, because we want to make sure that whatever input you're providing from this point on is in the document. So when we start meeting with the board, it's there.
Ready to roll.
Okay.
Yeah, because June, if we were meeting with the CRA board, we want to make sure everything's pretty well tightened up by May 31st.
Nice job.
Yeah, great job.
Yeah,
Really
good. Been a task, but it's been enjoyable.
Yeah, no, we all appreciate it. Like I said, it's
We really appreciate, you know, getting exposure for the students working on this project, because it's so very important to teach them real world examples, and like what reward to see a plan that they worked on in school come to fruition and be a public facing document. Hey, look, here's a good reference for my resume.
Yeah.
That's great.
Cool. Does have any other questions for Professor Green? Good. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Great job.
Did she say this from here or?
I'll actually, can I take it out and then put it here?
All right, so unfinished business, or will not some new business.
Yeah.
Community benefits agreement committee opportunity? Or
Oh.
anyone to talk on that?
Yes, so, because of the funding agreements we have with like Straz, Tampa Theater, Tampa Museum of Art, as part of that funding agreement for the CRA to give them money for the rehabilitation that they're doing in the projects, on those projects,
Okay, watch this.
on those projects that, there's this community benefits agreement component of the overall funding agreement. And it's basically, those institutions showing what benefit they're providing to the community. And so there's a committee being set up. So we need members for that committee to provide input on what those organizations are recommending their community benefit is. So
That's for each CAC? Or that's just a word that goes over all of the CRAs?
yeah, it's a city committee.
Gotcha.
So the city, and they're looking to appoint these people this month because I think the approval will happen around June 6th. So it's kind of a fast turnaround time, but I can send that, when I send you this, the presentation, I'll also send you the link that gives you additional information.
Can you send that to us, or was that on like the CRA Instagram or something? I saw it somewhere.
Oh, it may have.
Downtown said, I saw it recently. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll send it though in the email with the presentation, that the links that you can go. I can tell you right now, if you're so anxious to go look at it tonight, but it's a tampa.gov/CPAC, so it's Community Benefits Agreement Committee. So tampa.gov/CPAC.
Would we be eligible to be members of that committee? Oh,
Yeah, anyone that, the only caveat is that you have to live within a half a mile of the project.
oh, wow.
So,
That's gonna be tough.
yeah, I know, so that's a little bit
Half a mile of
the project itself.
whichever project you're talking about.
What about work?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you live and work, live or work, live, or, you know, yeah, so let me send that to you because it'll give all the details. It's actually our director of economic opportunity that's going to be overseeing that entire process. I kind of just chime in and listen.
I think even working would be more important because I'm really interested in seeing what the economic benefit would be for my employment area.
Yeah, and they are having public meetings like the Straz, they're required to have public meetings about their community benefits agreement. So the Straz has had one, they're gonna have their second on June the 3rd. I can give you this information as
Okay,
well.
that'd be great.
But June the 3rd, they're gonna have their community meeting about their CDAC. And then Tampa Museum of Arts, like May 23rd. So, but I'll send these to you. They're trying to get out there to get these CBAC community benefit agreements, approved and, you know, rolled out.
You mean a business liaison?
So I will send you what those opportunities are in the email.
All right, so move on to unfinished business, which is going to be our 20 final budget review.
Yeah, and I don't know how much we need to review. We did a really thorough job last time. I will tell you that we were ahead of the game as far as what the commercial grant layout should look like. As I didn't know that I'd be meeting with our administrator of those grants. And so they have recommended in that pink column for the redevelopment investment, those, you know, we were talking it through, like how many. So actually it's less than that special projects. We said, 250,000 is what we suggested. But I learned that it's 10% of the TIF budget.
Oh, okay.
So that's what they decided now, for it to be 10% of the actual budget, not to exceed 1 million. So we have 135,000. So it's less than the 250 we discussed. So really, I mean, I think we're in a good place. Everything's, I didn't really adjust anything based on, other than, you know, that of what we talked about. So, you know, you guys wanted to keep money in that in neighborhood infrastructure improvements with majority, because that's where we can have some, wiggle room with that funding if an opportunity comes along.
Which I'm sure will.
Mhm. Yeah,
So everything else is,
That was the major thing, was just a
the commercial,
10%. Okay.
yeah, I lowered that and just aligned with what the recommendations were of what those grant amounts.
Okay, you put the heart bus stop enhancements on here.
Well, that's just a placeholder right now. It's actually gonna be 80,000. I just learned that yesterday. But yeah, we'll get a presentation from HART. But that's something forthcoming that they want to improve the high ridership bus stops.
The existing ones?
Yeah, these aren't new ones. They would be
They
improvements to the
need, they need
existing.
it, they need to.
Yeah,
What-
something-
what
Some kind of garbage cans.
Improve. What does that look like? I don't ride the bus system.
Well, it's ADA compliance.
Yeah.
It's raised pads for better ADA. And it could be shade, it could be benches, it could be lighting, it could be
Garbage
signage, it could be,
cans.
yeah, for trash receptacles, like.
Yeah, shading is a key thing, shading, making sure that people can be comfortable as they wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the film were like, oh, you feel so bad for the
There's
folks.
just a little bench some, and
Some
some,
don't have bench. Some just have a stop.
yeah, some, well, then, and a lot of them, there's no ADA, accommodations, and that's a big problem. Because
Sure.
a lot of people need to ride the bus, but can't drive if they're not mobile.
Yeah, so HART's come to us
That'd be
and then
great.
looking at all the CRAs and what are the high ridership areas in each of those CRAs and requesting funding for improvement to those particular ones. So there, I think there are 2 in Central Park
One in
and,
Nebraska, and I know that there's one on
yeah, so I didn't
7th, I
bring the
think.
actual address.
The one in 7th, that's right there by Old Town Park Farms, that one's kind of rough. I think I just took a picture of a garbage can. And the one that's on Nebraska didn't used to have a garbage can. They finally got one down there, but it's always, it needs some good maintenance.
Out of curiosity, is it Justin Willis that what's your contact?
Yes. So you can call him and ask him questions if you want. But he will be here to present to us.
He started working for HART, and I was like, okay, now we're gonna see some movement, and so I just kind of figured.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, he's been talking with us, so looking for opportunities for funding partners. We're not the only ones, but he's looking for ways to make those improvements. So he is coming to the CACs, but I did that as an advanced placeholder, just knowing that was coming, but it's actually gonna be 20,000 less than what I was putting in there. So you'll hear more about that.
It's better than.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Good. So yeah, that's really,
And you think he'll be able to come from one of the next meetings, you said?
what do you
Or
say?
will be able to come to one of the next meetings probably?
Well, in an upcoming meeting, I don't know how quickly, but in an upcoming meeting for sure, because I talked with them on like Tuesday or so this week, so
Gotcha.
it's coming. Oh, so the new thing that Bryce and Melissa's team have been working on is this pretty last page.
Do we have to approve this?
We did last,
Oh, we did it?
last month.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if we did it or
Yeah. So this is what they're doing for all of the CRAs to keep track of our projects, because usually I'll try to just read down the projects and recall from, memory of where things are standing with each of the projects. But now the project team has come up with this new visual and report for us to just be able to see that project name, how much was budgeted for it, and then, any current status of where it is at this point in time. So eventually we would have grants on here too. So we talked about commercial grants, and I think we would eventually have something, however the grants team would like to do it. But I would think we would have something similar to the grants. If we have any active grants, people applying, we would know what the status is of those, for those commercial and eventually residential grants.
Cody, do we need to allude to any of those in this plan?
I don't think so. I don't think so. No, this is just kind of more of just a CAC document, because we're just showing it to each of the CACs. We're not really publicizing it from what
Good question.
that's David Hall's as well.
Well, it's actually not.
I know, I'm joking.
This last page that you just showed, it has Temple Park Plaza on there and some money. What is that for? What is that? It has construction.
Page programs.
Oh, The city parks department did an overall city assessment of where ADA improvements needed to be made in certain parks. And so, is that the funding? I believe that's the funding specific to all those ADA improvements. So every single CRA had a review done of what needed to be done to get it up to compliance. And so, that's starting, that'll be starting with the Parks Department. So that does some of the, that gives you some updates on the unfinished business section. Oh, I,
The number is probably gonna be like 35. Because we're gonna split it. It looks like the cost is coming in somewhere between 60 and 70.
and then, so Mr. Hollis and I met with Joan, the property manager, yesterday, and they were willing to let us come, they are willing to let us come and meet at the Encore in their theater room, which would be the most posh meeting room of any CAC.
About time.
It's a 14 seat room that has the nice theater seats, very cushioned. It's a room of maybe a little larger than this room, probably.
Hey, it's half again as large as this room. Trev would like it. It has a nice podium up there, so when you're.
The professor's podium.
The professor's podium.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So that'll start next month?
Yeah, we can start it as soon as we want. So it's gonna be plug and play pretty much, that we can have we'll have the screen. We can do still the recordings and virtual participation. And then there's a parking garage, so I wouldn't have to hand out chaser tickets for whoever parked in the front. So don't forget, if you didn't get one yet.
$30 ticket.
Yeah. So there's free parking and yeah.
Yeah, y'all should park in the building.
Yeah.
It'll be out the more that people don't
People
know.
hasn't already owns Encore.
Yes,
Okay, so
That's
you
us.
guys own and manage Encore.
yes, that's us.
Okay, all right, got it. That's great then, because we can really attract some community
I'm saying.
members.
Yeah. And if we do, then we may have to go out to the other room.
14.
There's only 14 seats. And so if we do, we could always.
Investigated and engaged.
Really, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
both you guys, thank you.
And probably just knowing Joan, we don't need to bank on this or anything like that, but knowing Joan, there'll probably be some very light refreshments for our meeting.
Love it.
That fancy water with sliced cucumbers in it or something along, maybe.
Yeah, I kept telling her, don't worry about it. It was just nice that they opened the space for us, but she's like, I got you.
I love it. That's great. It's exciting.
That is exciting.
I know.
It's nice.
That's in Tempo?
No, in the Reed building.
On the Reed, okay.
Yeah,
You can just walk right over there. Both you guys can just walk right over there.
Yay.
I can continue to drive.
Yeah,
I would like share.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right, exactly.
so that was good news. We just.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks
Joan
for doing that.
yesterday, so.
Yeah.
Very nice of them.
Yeah. Check that off the box. Oh, I mean, that's really exciting. It really is. I mean, it doesn't probably sound.
Yeah, and we're in the
Really is.
CAC. Makes sense.
To
We're in the
make-
CRA.
Yeah.
And
Just to
Awesome.
see what's going on down there and to get more community involvement.
Like, honestly, if, those of us, we join the meeting, we can take a walk or whatever, if we talk about something, or if there's, an application here and we want to actually go see that site or something, we're right there and it's convenient.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
awesome. It really is.
But you can, the Bill project is, 100 yards away, the farm is 100 yards away.
It's great.
And the buildings that are gonna be going up are
right there with the point two of them.
Do you have any update on the Perry Harvey Park, or is that just kind of, that is what it is?
It was just that it was completed last month. The artist came in
Okay.
and
Great.
went back to California or wherever
Yeah.
he went back to.
Yeah, you're in California, so that's checked on that.
Yeah,
The Johnson houses, I think you have on this last page right here that you're kind of pending on that, or it's on hold.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it's going, we're waiting for permitting
Okay,
and final
Final approval. and-
construction drawings and stuff like that, so
What's
it's
that?
it's not on hold, it's just.
you were thinking
that's
end of
still
year,
part.
end of years? Was that-
End of year.
Is that where
I
you're
would think
thinking?
so. Now the Bell project should be
Or that.
completed by the end of this year.
Oh, maybe
The
that's the
Bell
one I was
project.
thinking of.
Yeah,
Okay,
the construction on the Johnson Brothers houses, I'm not that excited about. I mean, I'm excited about it. I'm just not that excited about its progress
Okay.
through all the hoops that it has to go
Okay.
through
Okay.
and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, are you waiting up to see like what you're gonna do with that whole row? Or are you just waiting
No,
up to
we're
see what
pretty
those
much-
two?
Yeah, what our plans are for that road? We pretty much, we either own outright
Yeah.
or
Need to land
can
some,
control that whole strip of Scott Street.
right,
The
right.
north of Scott,
Mhm.
from Nebraska to the church, not the Pink and Blue Church, but to the St. Peter Playbook Complex there. So, and what we're going to do is, of course, we're going to redo the Johnson Brothers houses to look like they would have looked originally.
Mhm.
But then we're also going to build out that street in period similar homes. We don't want a row of Johnson Brothers houses, but the two Johnson
Sure.
Brothers houses will be there because they're historically important.
Right.
We think, and actually what maybe a lot of people don't know, but Paul is still alive. Johnny died a few years ago. But actually the 5 Johnson kids
Mhm.
were actually birthed in that house.
Crazy.
Yeah, they weren't birthing them at the hospital in those
Mhm.
days. So they were actually born in the house that is the closest to Nebraska.
Mhm.
But anyway, so it'll be, there's some houses over on Palmetto that are that period of houses, you know, the
Palmetto
front
Beach.
porches, the handyman. No, Palmetto,
West Tampa?
Palmetto.
Yeah, you're talking about like shopping houses. Yeah. yeah.
So
Or even
they'll
Dobie, they have some over there.
Yeah,
Coastal.
they'll be really great looking,
Right,
if you like that period of architecture and that
that'll look
look.
cohesive. Yeah, that'll be nice. Okay.
So it'll be very,
So-
it'll be very nice. It should be a very nice street. Yeah, and then right on the corner of Nebraska and Scott
Mhm.
is probably going to be a 4-rise micro condo units for
Mm,
folks,
mm.
Micro condo.
for our urban millennial folks.
I mean, condo isn't small enough indication.
Not for some people. No, not quite.
400 square
Is
feet.
that a
But really,
new term for
really
your
where
apartment?
the bed, when you get done sleeping on your bed in the morning, you make it up, the bed disappears up in the
Jackson.
ceiling, or like an old Murphy bed where so the bed will disappear, and now during the day, that becomes living space. And there are people that like that.
Yeah.
Apparently.
And hanging out at your house, you're gonna have so much to walk to. There's gonna be so much stuff to do.
I was one of those when I was in college and went to a studio apartment. It's nice kind of having everything like right here.
Well, dorm room. So the bell you said is gonna be done by end of year.
I'm pretty comfortable with that, yes.
Didn't we already appropriate the funds for
Say that again.
that? Didn't we already, didn't the CAC already appropriate?
Yeah, and I don't know if
Like
it was
30,
a line item.
I
That means
I
you could-
I don't see it as a line item. I didn't know if maybe
It
you
may-
pushed it into the Johnson Brothers stuff, because we actually have it in for final drawings now. What Mr. Moore wanted us to do is we got together with Fred up at the museum and with Rob and Nye, actually this past Monday. And we got them, we were passing all this information around, what do you like, what do you want? And so we decided let's just all get together and answer the question. So now we know what it's going to look like.
Okay.
And so now we're sending that off to an architectural team who's going to do all the architectural work
But
on
it
it.
may have gotten rolled into the
I
Johnson
think it
Home.
did, because I think we were gonna do 100 for the houses, and I think it was like 30 for the bell, right?
Yeah, we think that that's probably, right now, we think and we're pretty good at this, but we think the estimate, including the rehab of the bell itself, the all-in number is somewhere between 60 and 70.
Yeah.
So if that's correct, that's a
I think
50/50
that's what you
split. between us two
Yeah.
guys.
So it's captured. You know, we would
It's in
maybe
the-
have to,
I think you just need to adjust Johnson Homes Historic Preservation / bell.
okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah. Okay,
so
and
the
then,
bell won't ring. Oh, yeah. It's going to be mounted permanently.
That's
It'll be lit with some LED lights, so it'll have a nice little glow at night.
Great.
But there's going to be some 16-year-old kid out there that if it rang, it'll be ringing it.
That's
Thank
very-
you for reminding me, because the Johnson Brothers and the Bell are in consortium with, would be a great application for planning and design awards.
now, did you say that you guys did meet with somebody about getting our meetings in the newsletters for the districts?
Right, and I was actually going to send Courtney an email, but I forgot.
Okay,
That's not age-based forgetfulness. It's just, I got busy, I forgot.
Is it Joan?
Well, but then when we were, I swear it was in this, and I was talking about that and somebody said, oh no, we don't need to use Dawn Walter, who's the area exec.
Hmm.
I talked to so-and-so and they just said, send it to so-and-so.
You got that so-and-so
But-
at gmail.com.
So-and-so at GHAFL.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so,
Good job.
but the
Yeah, I'm sorry.
official thing.
That is age-based, because that goes back to being in the country when you say so-and-so, and what's your name and all of those.
Whatchamacallit.
Whatchamacallit.
Down there, short way.
That's right.
Or,
Over yonder.
or can you give me a lift? Back then it was, can you carry me over to there?
Um,
Okay, so then getting back to what it was, anything that we want in the newsletter
Uh-huh.
needs to be to a person's desk. The area person for property management, her name is Dawn Walter.
Tell me if I'm mistaken, but I think we just were wanting to get our just letting the community know that the meeting was happening, correct? We're not trying to get a bunch of stuff in there. We're just saying, hey,
No, yeah,
we just want to let you know if you want to attend these
Yeah.
meetings, if you want to have public comment.
yeah.
It's going to be very simple.
And we can even
Yeah.
get stuff mounted in our elevators, we all,
Yeah.
like in all elevators, they have things on the wall where you can
Right.
put posters behind it
Yeah,
and stuff
right.
like that. So we can do.
Get a little
that.
QR code or
But
something.
the short, get just 3 days before the end of the month. So in other words, if we wanted something in the June newsletter, it needs to be in
Dawn.
Dawn's email. I made.
I think that should be fairly straightforward. So this is what our meeting is. This is who we are. Boom.
Yeah,
Done.
I
Easy
agree.
breezy
But if
So
we-
do you have the email, or do you want to send me the email, or?
for Dawn.
I'll send you. Hey, but since you have your computer, would you send me an email that says?
David sent me. And I'm getting ready to send all you the presentation right
That's
now.
cool. So I don't think I
Is
probably
there
have
a-
too much of an update on the Paradise. I mean, I kind of almost feel like that's kind of fallen off. of
Well,
our
they-
radar.
They're interested in a
Selling.
grant.
What?
Okay.
Yeah,
Seriously?
they have reached out. I don't know if that's
Now,
public.
what do they want a grant for?
Folks that bought the church, or the folks that are deep
They're not
working.
used. They're not used.
Okay. Well, exterior commercial, but okay, let's not talk about.
Understood. We'll talk, we'll make that for next month. How's
Just
that?
because it's absolutely public record, but it's easily overlooked. Since we have some track record with that church, we refer to it as the pink and blue church.
Of course.
You go down there, it's pink and blue,
Correct.
and different shades of pink and different shades of blue.
Always.
But anyway, that bill, just so this team knows, this is public record, I'm not disclosing anything that you can't easily find. That building, whatever its use may be at any time, there's absolutely no parking for that building.
That's right.
Zero. No parking, except on-street parking, which means that you can have about 4
And
cars.
that's it. Getting Scott's, you're hauling ass down there anyway, so.
Right, yeah. So that's,
Okay, so maybe we can,
We don't know what's going on.
We'll probably know more about
They
that.
approached us about
Yeah,
parking, and we said no. Okay, here's what we think we know. The old pastor is still with us. He's still at the city council meeting
Oh, yeah.
every month and he's kind of,
He is
he's a
who he
very
is.
old man now and everything, all his synapses possibly are not firing on, and we all get there at some point in time. So it's just, but on his board now, some people are on the board of the church,
Mhm,
okay?
mhm.
And the gentleman, and once again, this is all, you can go to
Sure.
Dr. Google and Dr. Google will tell you all this, because Dr. Google knows all. But the gentleman that is the president of the board of the church, and this is probably just incredible coincidence, is a real estate developer.
Wow, imagine that. Doggone.
Oh, I have no imagination about that. I'm just reporting information that's available on
Yeah,
Google.
yeah. Like I said, I mean, we looked under Sunbiz before and we saw, you know,
Right,
that-
and you can go to Sunbiz, you can go
we
to,
saw, we knew, I mean, we.
but whatever that building becomes or whatever, so before, as a member of the CAC, it would, I would have to let you all know that that building is very, very limited as to what can happen there as far as, supporting it with funding, because there is zero parking. They've approached us to lease them some land, and our answer is a very polite and very firm, not today, not tomorrow, because they're surrounded by the farm. Our farm goes up to the boundaries of their footprint of their building.
I think
A couple feet into their fence.
Yeah,
Pardon me?
A couple feet into their fence.
Yeah. So that building is gonna struggle no matter what it is or what it wants to do.
sure.
Even if it wants to do wonderful, wonderful things, it's gonna struggle because it's got new dirt. And
Okay.
it's all just incredibly public information.
So we'll know more about that probably next month. We can kind of keep an eye on that, take a cruise down there, see what's going on. All right, so that concludes that. And announcements and discussions. Our next meeting is scheduled for June 19th.
Freedom Day.
Not TMOB.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. Is gonna be at Encore. It's gonna be at
At the Reed
the
Building.
Reed
You
Building.
can park on the ground floor of the parking
That's
garage.
right.
The entrance to the Reed parking garage is off of Hank Ballard.
Yep.
And then you'll park in the garage on the ground floor only, which there'll be, only probably 50 or 60 spaces available.
Yeah,
And then you'll see two huge doors, and you'll go in those doors right into the lobby of the building.
yeah. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be, I mean, I think you guys are gonna work on that. Yeah, appreciate that very, very much for
If
getting
it's
that coordinated.
raining, you don't care.
That's right. And then the next CRA board meeting, if anyone cares to join virtually or in person, is June 13th, at 9 a.m. at Old City Hall. That concludes everything for us for this month. Awesome to see everybody. It's gonna be exciting to see everybody in a new setting. Nice to meet you.
Yes, you as well.
Yeah, this one was here, first one,
4:29.
29, a minute early.
Yes.
Actually, I heard him chat. He was
I
actually down
actually
there.
didn't want to get here too early. I knew I needed my reputation. So I was talking to somebody
I
like.
could hear the voice, so
And
I-
I finally said like, oh, I gotta go to meetings.
Oh, he's all chicken. I looked at him, he's like, hey.
I know, right? That's great.
David is really coming around.
I'm very shy. Well.
Very-
It's gonna be exciting next one. It's gonna be-
I'm looking too soft that I get that all done.
So one last question though, that we kind of discussed a little bit about doing that walking tour type of meeting. Is that still kind of in the works, or is that just kind of like?
No, Erica said that Director Moody said she would mind joining us. It was just that we had to
I
have a
understand.
presentation
Well, that's the thing
today.
for next month. I mean, we're gonna meet down there, so that's, can we maybe do a half and half, like meet in there for half and then do a whole jaunt, or what do you think?
It's up to
'Cause
you.
it's gonna be hot.
Fair warning. If we do it, we have to have a Juneteenth celebration.
That's right. I think we should as well. I agree.
Oh, yeah.
I believe there will be some sort of a Juneteenth activity at the church.
Yeah. Is it on that day or it's?
I don't remember. We had finalized that agreement with Tampa Museum. We pay her half of her salary. Her name is Ashley. She's a young African-American girl just a peach.
Take one of those walking tours.
Oh, did you really?
So you know her.
She's incredibly special. And we are already now starting to have activities there.
Awesome.
And there'll be regular scheduled activities like, there'll be the first Friday of the month activity, and there'll be the this and the that. We had an activity there for Emancipation Proclamation Day, was last week. And-
Basic.
Yes, and I think I heard some talk that there's gonna be something going on there for Juneteenth.
Yeah.
That's great. We'll keep an eye on that. Maybe we can kind of think about doing like, because it's gonna be hot, just walking towards them. It might be nice to do like a quick walk and then a cool down or in there and then go walk and then leave.
Yeah, 'cause I don't think we're gonna have much on the agenda.
This is a lot of.
Yeah, so now that this was done today, I don't know what's on the agenda next month.
I remember when you first came.
So it's important.
And like I said,
Yeah,
if it is a little warm, we might be walking towards that day. I just finished kind of those with, Tampa Housing Authority in Orlando, another one, Tampa Housing Authority.
Some of them are near shorts.
Well, no, but just like this.
I'm saying we'll bring some down for you like that.
We hate talking about this. But anyway, but I think, like I said, I think Joe can have.
Casual shooting meetings. Everyone comes in shorts and tank tops.
It's up to you.
So maybe just get up, tell us what's going on.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. Good to see you guys. I'll see you all next month.
Oh, I-
Um,